Bonjour! Bonjour!
No.
Time for bladder check. Check.
So it's a show?
It's a lifestyle.
It's a religion.
My emotions! My emotions!
I'm still French.
Ouais, c'est pas faux.
I'm a woman, Mary. I can be as contrary as I choose.
Non, moi je crois qu'il faut que vous arrêtiez d'essayer de dire des trucs.
I said it during the intro of the last episode. The episode 20, if you want to see my reaction video about that, I'm gonna put a link. I said it. Normally I was not supposed to watch episodes of Attack on Titan today, but I moved, my planning just to be able to watch 2 episodes, just because I needed to know what was gonna happen, with Eren and Zeke, like, does it work, this sterilization plan, did it really work? Like, I was truly mad in advance, sad in advance if it would work. And I wanted also to have news about Levi, because truly it's gonna be really difficult. I'm saying it's gonna be because I'm not even sure that I'm gonna have news during this episode about Levi. It's gonna be really difficult for me to go on, with my life without knowing it. And I know that during the rest of the week I can't watch any new episode, and I know that for some weeks right there it's gonna be difficult for me to watch some episodes, because it's gonna be the return of Stranger Things, the return of The Boys, Obi-Wan Kenobi is gonna be out. I mean, when you are watching this on YouTube, I think that it's already done, that period of time, but you know that on Patreon we have 6 or 5 episodes of advance, so they're gonna have these reaction videos, normally before before that period of time, so I have to work in advance, for them. So I know that I'm gonna spend some time without having news about Attack on Titan, and I want to know for Levi. It didn't happen during the last episode. I didn't say hi, right? Hello! Hi! I'm Laura! I'm gonna watch this episode 21 today. And yes, I was saying that during the last episode we didn't have news about Levi, and we didn't know in fact if it happened, that sterilization plan or not, because the entire episode was, I was gonna say a flashback episode, but it was, but with consequences on the past, present and future, and with people from the present time doing stuff into the past, and they were all talking about the future and stuff like that. Like, I'm not considering it, as a regular flashback episode. It gave me so many stuff to think about, and I said a lot of them in review of the last episode. Go watch it, to really have all of my thoughts about it, all of my theories also about it. But the main thing that I'm really keeping in mind is the fact that Grisha said that the Attack Titan, its ability is to be able to see the future. Grisha saw the future. Grisha saw that he had to take, the founding Titan power from the race family, that he had to kill them. He wanted to give up on that. He didn't want to do it. He was, applying his free will during that moment by giving up. But it's Eren who pushed him to do so, and in a way it's awful, because I have the impression that Eren took away his free will, and on another way you could be like, no, in fact it was supposed to happen no matter what. So it was truly the future, but just Grisha didn't see that part of the future, that it would be Eren from the future coming to push him to do so. Like, he just knew that he had to do it, that it was his destiny. Maybe it's more something like that, They are not seeing the future already, the pictures, what is gonna happen, but they know their destinies, what they have to do. They are doing everything to do it. But right there, again, Grisha, he didn't want to do it. So in a way, he had his free will, and Eren pushed him, and Grisha saw what Eren saw about his future. And Grisha was terrified about it, was terrified about what Eren is close to do. So he asked for Zeke to stop Eren. But Eren, it means that you saw your future, your destiny, what you're supposed to do. But on the contrary of Grisha, Eren, I have the impression that you totally accepted it. You have that in mind, like it's your mission, what you have to do. And the fact that I had this impression since the beginning of this season that Eren was on a mission, that he was called, that he was just doing stuff because he thought that he was supposed to do for his revenge and stuff. I was focused on that, on the revenge aspect. No, I think that it was that, he has that mission because he had that prediction, and maybe that's what, changed him, and that's why now he's really cold and he's not listening to everyone's opinions and he's not considering everyone around him and all of that. It's really him against the rest of the world, because he knows what is gonna happen, so he doesn't have to listen to anyone because he knows what is gonna happen, and he just has to do his mission to go to that point, to that prediction that he had about the future. But again, Eren, it means that you have no free will. At any point, he was never free, and if he's continuing like that to obey to that prediction of the future that he saw, he's never gonna be free. Like, he's just obeying to stuff, and really, I'm saying it's the word obeying. You're obeying to that prediction. That's really a metaphysics thing, because you can say that you can't fight the future, you can't fight destiny. When things are supposed to happen like that, they're gonna happen like that no matter what. You can say that stuff, they are going in a direction, in a path, and you're just following it because you're just, doing what you're supposed to do in life. Like, truly the thing about destiny. So you can tell me that he doesn't have to fight because there is no fight possible, stuff like that. That's really a metaphysical question. But for me, right now, with Eren accepting it fully, not questioning it, maybe it's more that, not questioning it even a minute, is not free. And in a weird way, I have the impression that someone is dictating that future, these predictions and all, which is weird, because in a world with titans, with powers, with like all of the powers that all of the titans they have, with all of that, with the past, with Ymir, you can tell me that no, it's really like you can see the future and that's all. That's all. But in a weird way, I have still the impression that something is manipulating Eren right there. Maybe it's just because of the fact that since season 1 we have this impression that they are manipulated, and we discovered the world outside of the walls, the Marleyans, the Eldians, like we discovered that little by little, and little by little we discovered that the truth was manipulated, that it was not the real truth and stuff like that, So maybe that's why I have the impression that it's still not the real truth, and at some point we're gonna discover the real truth, and maybe they are again manipulated, and we as viewers, we are again manipulated. Maybe it's just me, fighting with that idea. But yes, I still have the impression that it's not all. But for Eren to push Grisha to do that, it's really showing his development, his evolution. When Eren discovering that Grisha did that, at first it made him so sick, like he wanted to die. That was awful for him, that idea. So to discover now that it was him, Eren, who pushed his father to be like that, it's really showing how much he changed. He's still the same because he still wants his revenge, he still has this anger, he still wants that revenge for Carla and all of that, for his people being attacked and all. But himself, inside, how he's seeing stuff, how he's feeling, it changed. And again, I think that the fact that he knows what he has to do, his destiny, it's really easier for him in a way, because truly it's just doing what he's supposed to do, it's just acting, being what he's supposed to do, be, and all. Like, he doesn't have to ask himself any question, it's just supposed to happen like that, so he's going for it. It's easier in a way. You don't have to feel guilty, you don't have to question things, you don't have to have any doubts about it. That's why right there we have the impression that he's so closed, he's so blocked, he's so cold. But at the end, I don't think that it's true, and we had the proof of it with Grisha. Grisha had the same mission stuff prediction, and he wanted to fight it, and we saw him being afraid, and we saw him having doubts and all. For Grisha, you know, after all of what happened, to scream like that to Eren, are you happy by what I just did? Is it enough? And after that to say to Zeke, you have to intervene, what Eren is gonna do is awful. For Grisha to be that much afraid after all of what he lived into his life. Oh, and we had also that thing about the fact that when they are going into the past, they can talk, going like that into the memories, they can act, they can talk, they can touch also, they made that hug, they can intervene really into the past. And maybe that's why the whole, you know, he said that thing about saving Mikasa and Armin, because maybe right there, in fact, Eren was there and we didn't see him. Do you understand what I mean? Like someone said that to the orb during that moment. I prefer really that explanation and all of that story than the first series that I had about a time loop situation like into Matrix, or worse, you know, a time traveling situation. Right now, they are not time traveling, it's really like something that they are making into the past, so they can't do that every day of the week, you know. It's really in certain conditions, and it's really like occasionally, like really they did stuff like that into the past, which were important stuff. But we still don't know if it happened, you know. Zeke's plan about sterilizing people. Eren, what are you gonna do now? I think that what Grisha saw, it's a rumbling, and it's so awful that Grisha was scared about it. I'm against it, so wouldn't be surprised if it's not. I want news about Levi, let's make that clear. Really, it's gonna be so rough for me if we don't have news about Levi during this episode. It's gonna be so rough for me to not search for any spoiler, to really be like that, like no, I'm gonna search for information, it would be too easy, but I'm not gonna do it, and I'm gonna wait. Ah, that's gonna be really the first time that I'm gonna... Okay, let's go for this episode. Remember that if you want to have my Patreon, on which we have 6 or 5 episodes of advance, it's a lot no matter what, it's 2 weeks of advance. We've extended our 4 action parts. I think that for the 4 last episodes I'm gonna put 4 action parts, and I put a lot of them for Attack on Titan because it's really short episodes in which a lot of things are happening, I'm reacting a lot, I have a lot of things to say, so I'm putting the 4 action part. And it's the best way to support me, my Patreon. I'm a little reactor, so if you really want to support me, even for 1 month, if you appreciated this entire binge watching of the anime with me, you have my Patreon to show me that support, to thank me for that, you know, something like that. And if you can't, you can support me right now on YouTube by liking, subscribing, sharing, commenting. I'm saying it each time, numbers. For YouTube, it's the only thing which counts. It's not the case for me. Half of the fun for me, it's making these videos. Half of the fun, it's reading your comments, responding to you, and reading your theories or stuff like that. Continue to be careful with spoilers, because at the time that you're gonna see this video on YouTube, I don't know, you don't know in which episode I would be, you know. Each time just consider that you have to talk about this episode and what happened before, but never what happened after that. You don't want to tell me any spoilers. I have the chance, you know, I'm so lucky that so far during all of this binge watching, 4 entire seasons that I watched, and I had no spoilers with an anime like that, with a story like that. It's so amazing, you know, so please continue to do that. Continue to be respectful with that. Okay, let's go for this episode, the last one that I'm gonna watch today and before a long time, so wish me luck. Let's go. Heal! Levi, I want to see Levi, please, for my mental health, I need that. Give me that. because Zeke and Eren, they saw that.
なぜ全てを見せてくれないんだ。本当にこれしか道はなかったのか。この先お前の望みは叶わない。叶うのはエレンの望みだ。エレンの先の記憶を見た。しかしまさかあんな恐ろしいこと。
The fact that you are so frightened by it.
そうだね。私はひどい父親だった。
I'm so glad that you could say it and Zeke that you can hear it. Like for the characters themselves, it means so much. I'm not gonna cry again. It was Eren as a kid who pushed you like that.
まだ親父が俺に食われるところを見てないぞ。
We're not gonna have news about Levi.
都合のいい記憶だけをグリシャに見せて過去に影響を与えることも可能なはず。始祖の巨人を奪っても自分がその力を使えないことを知っていた。始祖を奪いそれをお前に託した。もっと先の未来を見たから。
You did also, Eren.
感謝している。リサ、あんたが俺を親父の記憶に連れ込んだおかげで
Huh?
俺は親父の記憶から自分の未来を見た。あの景色を。始祖ユミル、全てのユミルの神だ。
We had that moment, but it was not Grisha that you kissed like that. It was Historia. How could you have seen your dad memories, future thing, kissing Historia like that? Again.
あれを見たのは4年前。俺は親父の記憶から自分の未来。
In that memories. Oh, no, okay, it was in that memories that you had into you where woke up when you kissed like that, Historia.
グリシャは俺にこう言った。エレンを止めてくれ。
It did.
父親の記憶からどんな未来の景色を見たか知らないが。
Oh, father.
お前は無力なままだ。
Oh, he ran! Nothing can stop her.
この世の何者にもできない。
Why am I still not sure that this little girl is Ymir? Okay, Zeke, you want to do that, but something is wrong, something feels off. Oh, Eren, the fact that you can do that to yourself, it's awful. Eren, you... I think that you're right, Zeke is so... his future into his dad's memories by kissing Historia, having that connection with the royal blood. He didn't see everything, I'm sure of it also. You're a slave and you're obeying to this future, like you're all obeying, you're all slaves, none of you is free. Still sure of that. It opened a new path for you, Eren, because you intervened to push your father from you years ago. Eh? Ymir, we're gonna discover the real Ymir.
もうこんなに読めるようになったってダメだよ、鼻水垂らしてちゃ。
You're gonna erase her memories. Historia, she has her baby on purpose right now because of Zeke's plan and she's afraid of
ヒス
it.
トリアもこの子が好きでしょ。いつも他の人を思いやってる優しい子だからね。
It's Historia? From the book? No. Where are we? When are we? You killed, you made slaves.
みんなから愛される人になって助け合いながら生きていかなきゃいけないんだよ。
この中に歌を逃がした者がいる。でなければ全員から片目をくりぬ。
It's Ymir's story or it's Historia's story? Oh, what I just said, the Ymir that we know in Historia, everything is someone that everyone has to love. They are all they not knew. You have no voice? Eh, you are free! Ah, okay. It wouldn't have been logical, you know, to free, just to chase her, in fact. It's awful, this story. That's a real huge tree. You can enter. I don't understand what I'm looking. That thing made you a titan? Ymir was a slave, yes. Ymir was a slave since day one. All of you are slaves, even Ymir. Hein? But it means that the Eldians, they killed Ymir's people. You know, they are not Ymir's people. Do you understand what I mean? But she survived for a long time, Ymir. Him is getting that old. Her, she's not dying. She's supposed to not live long. She sacrificed herself. You're continuing to say that it's your slave. Wait! That's the future that you saw? Oh, I'm lost. The walls! The name of the walls! It was not 9 titans, you know, 3 daughters, 3 of you. Ymir, you created, you know, like she repaired Zix, she created which titan, maybe? The colossal one? All of them, the ones... Wait. To convince Ymir? She has eyes. She's saving you. Oh no, no, no! No! No, it's not happening! No, it's not happening! It's around me! Oh. No, it's not happening! No, it's not happening! Sorry, now you just want to protect.
聞こえない僕たちが
You won! You really...
地ならしを発動したならそれはきっとエレンの意志だ
You're really considering that you won? I mean...
エレンは味方だそうに決まってる
How can you consider that it's a win out of that, like...
ジーク帰ってきた私たちのところに
For them, you know, just the fact that it's happening, it means that Zeke's plan didn't happen.
マーレの連合軍を潰すだけならこんなに必要ないよマーレに集結した
To
連合
destroy
軍
and
を
kill
潰すだけ
everyone.
だ
すべてのユミルのために積む俺の名はエレン・ミエーガーにあるすべての壁の放出化が解かれその中に埋められていたすべての巨人の目的は俺が生まれ育ったパラディ島の人々を守ることにあるしかし世界はパラディ島の人々が死滅することを望み俺はその望みを拒むこの島の外にあるすべての地表を踏み鳴らすにある命をこの世から駆逐するまで
鉄の玉がすれば永遠に近づいたその
Oh, guys, that I should have been watching today 2 episodes just because I needed to be relieved, you know, from my anxiety for Levi. We didn't have any news about Levi. 2 episodes which were amazing, don't get me wrong, but which were awful because what we discovered about the past, the future, the present, all of that, you know, the memories and what Eren is doing right now. And Ymir story. It's a lot of information, it's too much for me. And what happened right there at the end. Oh, fuck, he did it! No. No! I want to be in denial. I know that I can't. I want to be. Eren, you did it. You did the rambling. How can you do that? To kill everyone. To have your revenge. For the Eldians. The fact that you are naming them the subjects of Ymir, that was a fucking lie since day one, in fact. You know, calling the Eldians Ymir's people, that's a fucking lie since day one. She was a slave of that country. She was doing all of that being a fucking slave. She was not free. She was just obeying to orders, to that country, to the Eldians. Ymir was a slave for the Eldian king. The Eldians, they are not subjects of Ymir, they are not Ymir's people, they are the people who used her as a slave. That was a fucking lie since the beginning. She had kids, a lot of kids. The 3 daughters named like the wolves. You first you raped Ymir, you forced her to have these kids because she was your slave and she was also your sexual slave. You forced your daughters to eat their mother so they can become titans, and the generation after that, at some point it ended. You are only 9 titans. Are we gonna see how it ended that? No, I don't want to know for now. And that was Historia's story. Historia, it's Ymir? Are you fucking kidding me? That also, you know, the symbolic of that for Historia and Ymir, the ones that we know and we are in love and we are so great also. Historia, you were named after Ymir, Eren, at the end, you managed to convince Ymir into the path that she was waiting for you since so long, to get free, in fact, to get out, and also to have her revenge. Because during all of this time she built, you know, all of these colossal titans because she wanted her revenge. Right there, you're making your revenge for sure, Eren, but also Ymir's revenge by killing everyone. I mean, the fact that at first he was like, we won, just because of the fact that for you to not have Zeke, no, just because to see the rumbling happening, for you it was okay, we won against Zeke's plan. But you didn't consider everything, I mean, and for you after that to understand that Eren is making something bigger than what you thought of. And Eren, what you became during that moment. That thing, you know, who gave to the first Ymir, you know, to Ymir her power, she was transformed into a titan. It's really like she entered into that tree, she fell into that big hole, she went into that ocean, she went deep into that ocean, and that animal like that, I know that during that moment we had a thing, you know, to explain what it was, but it felt really like a prehistorical creature who gave you that power. You know, it's not a god, it's not the devil, it's not something like that, like it's something more like that. Why do I still have doubt about it? This anime is so used to not tell me the truth, to lie to me, to manipulate my mind, their minds, to not give the truth, the entire truth, to change everything after that, that even when they are telling me something which sounds like the truth, which seems like the truth, which is a truth that can work with everything that we know already, even during that moment, I'm gonna doubt about it because you lied to me so many times that I'm gonna doubt about it. It's like the story, you know, with the kid who is screaming for the wolf, first time, second time, and people are believing into it, are coming back, and when the wolf is really coming, the kid is screaming and no one is believing into him anymore, so the wolf is really killing the sheep. And right there it's the same, like I'm not believing into you anymore. Or at least I have doubts when maybe I shouldn't have doubts anymore. About that story about Ymir, about Eren who is managing to do that. Convince Ymir, you know, to convince her that he's gonna do that big revenge that she wanted by creating all of these titans. She's gonna do the rumbling, that's what Ymir wanted. It's, in a way, is offering her freedom because she's out and she's out inside of him, you know. We can see that something is happening right there, like he's becoming her, he's taking her power. Yes, he's taking her power. That's why he had that thing. Gabi right there, I think that she was saved by Reina. All of them hearing Eren's voice, you know, inside of them because they are Eldians. Okay, I get it. The fact that during this moment we are not seeing Angie and Levi, fuck you writers, like just to show me Levi and Angie during that moment, it would have been enough for me because I would have known that Levi is still alive if he can hear Eren's voice. But the fact that you are not showing them to me, it really means that you did it on purpose because Angie, she's still alive, so we should have seen her during that moment. So it really means that you fucking writer, you're awful to do that and you're playing with the viewers. You're not even making your story logic with that, and it's really just to play with the viewers. You're not just sneaky, you're awful with that, like it's really bad. Even for your own story, your own logic. I'm mad at you because of that. Even more because of the fact that I know that I'm not gonna have my answer about Levi for a long time now. And what now? What now? Eren, you're really gonna go with all of these colossal titans to kill everyone? What did he say at the end? Like, I was so scared, sad, mad. Historia, the face that you are making just after that. And again, for me, you made that kid on purpose, you know, just right now. Maybe because she thought that Zeke's plan, you know, would be accomplished and she was afraid of it. She wanted to have a kid before that to be sure that the royal blood would, you know, would be given to someone else before that. Maybe because of someone else. Right there, to see her being sad about it, listening to Eren's voice, it's almost like you did that against Eren, Historia, to make a kid. Maybe because you're planning to sacrifice yourself at some point to stop Eren. Oh, I'm going too far and I really don't know how she could do that, but you did that on purpose. Historia, I really think so. I recheck those wishes, okay. The titans of the world will trample the land outside of Island and crush all traces of life under their rumbling feet. All humanity. You're planning to kill all humanity except for the Eldians. Again, the Eldians who are not Ymir's people, who are people who used Ymir as a slave. I'm really not over that river. And the fact that she was a slave, like, for me, really, this anime, since day one, episode 1, season 1, made, you know, the subject of freedom, you know, freedom really, the word freedom and all of what it implies, it's the main subject of this anime since day 1, episode 1, season 1. But they are going so deep with that, so deep. It's impressive, you know, to watch it, to analyze it, and you know, already so far I was impressed by it because I was like, you're going so far with this idea for all of the characters, and I'm seeing it since a long time. They're all slaves, none of them is free, none of them is free. Even the ones who think that they are not, and not just because they are not Eldians. Do you understand what I mean? They are all obeying to someone, to something. They are all fucking slaves, including Eren. He is a slave, he's obeying to this prediction of the future, you know, that his destiny, that he thinks that he has to accomplish, like Grisha did add. And right there, to discover that even Ymir, the first Ymir, was a slave, you know, really the subject of fighting for your freedom, while in fact you were a slave and you're still a slave and you're always gonna be a slave. It's so impressive, you know, the fact that they made their entire anime, all of their stories, all of their characters turning around that subject, and they went so deep with that subject of fighting for freedom when in fact you're a slave and you can never get out of that status, you know, that role of being a slave. It's so fucking amazing, well done, well written, to create an entire thing, you know, around that subject. Because okay, they are creating a story, all of the things about the Titans, all of these reveals, all of these informations, all of these things, like that story on itself, it's impressive. But to put into that, and since the beginning, that subject of being free, being a slave, and to keep it as really the thing, the subject of your anime since day one, it's fucking impressive. I want to write a memoir, you know, about it. I want to write an essay of 100 pages about it. I want to rewatch this entire anime with that in mind, to make breaks and to take notes about it. I want to write an entire thing about it. Maybe because of the fact that in my personal life I already wrote memoirs, you know, and essays and stuff like that about big subjects, about shows, you know, I analyzed shows, and it was for a real different subject, you know. I think that I talked about it not on Attack on Titan reviews, but for other shows. Like I made an entire memoir of 200 pages, I think, about the influence of, the consequences of 9/11 on US shows, you know, the fact that it changed the representation of the enemies, that it was the enemies coming from inside and not from outside anymore, and it changed also a lot of other things on how the writers were writing shows and stuff like that. I made an entire essay about it. Right there, maybe it's because of that, you know, that I want to write something about Attack on Titan, to analyze that, to spend entire months rewatching this anime and taking notes about that subject of being free and being a slave into Attack on Titan through all of the different characters and all of the different situations and all of the evolution of the characters and of the story. The question, you know, of being free, being a slave was always there, and the fact that it's still there with Ymir herself, she was a slave, she was not free. Right there, Eren, you're getting her free, but are you really? Because you're gonna use her in fact also, and you're using her also. Like, always a slave, never free. Even Ymir herself, even now. It's so impressive, it's so amazing to have a show written, you know, to go that deep and to make things like that. Like, it's impressive, and I could talk about it for entire hours, and I could write about it for entire pages, and it's so cool, so cool. It's not gonna make me forget the fact that I don't have news about Levi, and right there, on purpose, you didn't show Levi and NG because you knew that it would be the answer, so you are definitely, willingly playing with your viewers, even if it's against your own logic of showing all of the Eldians people during that moment. It's bad, you know, because at least, since, you know, we don't know what happened to Levi, everything sounded logic with the fact that they were not showing him. It sounded logic with all of the stuff that you needed to talk about and which were more important. But right there, to not show it during that moment, it's really the proof that, in fact, you're using that for your viewers because you know that it's your viewers' favorite character, and it's bad. We have Gabi, we have Pique, we have Falco, we have all of them, you know, soldiers, Sasha's family. We even have Sasha's family during that moment. All of the soldiers and all. We have all of the citizens, the normal citizens, right there listening to you. We have Floke, we have Historia, but we don't have Levi and NG. At least we should have had NG. So really the fact that they are not showing NG, it's to not show the situation with NG and Levi. It's to play with the viewers. It's bad. For your own logic, you know, of this moment, it's not fair, it's not fun, and it's bad. I don't appreciate that. Eren, you did the rambling. I'm so disappointed that you did it. I'm so disappointed also by Ymir's story discovering that she was a slave. How can we stop Eren now? I think that the only one who can stop Eren, it's Eren himself. By finally having some free will and stop obeying to this prediction of the future that you saw, by doing what Grisha did, giving up on it. Eren, you need to stop being a slave. You also. Have some free will, Eren. Get that back. I'm looking at my screen now, and you know, I made a break. I paused on the ending credit just after the episode, so I have him as a kid with the scarf looking at me with his eyes. Eren as a kid, he could stop that. He knew. He would know, you know, the difference. I was gonna say between what is right and wrong, but it's not like that. The world is not black and white. But Eren as a kid, he had some free will. I did not have Levi, I had the rambling. Oh really? What a good idea to move all of my planning just to watch these 2 episodes, to have my answers about Levi, and to be sure that Zeke didn't make his plan. No Levi, okay, no Zeke's plan, but the rambling. all of these reveals were really great, and these episodes were amazing, really great. I think that so far, at least for the season 4, they are the best ones of the season 4. Liberio, it was also a good episode. But you know, they are really, really great, these episodes. And I didn't even talk about the musics because I was too focused on the action, on the reveals, on the story. But I'm gonna need time to recover, you know, from these episodes. I'm gonna need time. But the fact that I'm gonna have this time, it means also that I'm not gonna have news about Levi, and that I'm gonna drink a beer right now. Don't judge me with that, it's really my therapy thing after episodes of Attack on Titan that I have trouble to deal with myself. A little beer like that on my own. Oh, I'm sorry. A beer. I'm gonna take a beer right now. I bet. Only Eren can stop Eren. Only Eren's free will can stop Eren's destiny. I don't know how to say that in another way, but I think that you've got me. If I knew what these 2 episodes would be about, I would have prepared myself, and I wouldn't have watched them like that, you know, with that mood, with that intention, like... That face at the end, you know, for Eren, it's a face into the manga, I suppose, you know, that you had. It's a really scary one, and it's good to use it right now. That's a good idea, you know, I mean, to make that connection with the manga and the anime, but also because I suppose that it had such an impact when people read that you had to use it directly into the anime. Okay, I'm gonna end this video right now. If you are watching this on Patreon, I can tell you that that's it. And if you are watching this on YouTube, if you want to see me reacting to the next episodes, you can go on my Patreon because we have some advance on it. But on Patreon, yes, just know that the weight that you're gonna need to have, you know, to have my reaction videos about the next episodes, I feel the same right now. Desperate. Because I'm gonna be forced to wait to watch the next episode. Just know it. It's all for me and for you for today, so it's all for me for now, so bye for now. Bye. A beer, a beer, a beer, a beer!
Wait a minute, Doc. Are you telling me that you built a time machine?
Great.